Good morning, everyone. Take a look at the scene before us. Here you see Grizzly Peak overlooking the Grizzly River Rapids at the Eureka Gold and Timber Company down there. And in the distance, the strange tailfin-like peaks of Cars Land. Look below us, everyone. You are peering in to Disney California Adventure, and this is the Sometimes Vlog. Holy cow, it's a vlog that happens sometimes, and nobody notices my cool song. But that's okay. Look at this view, everyone. I feel like Mussolini. No, that's a bad thing. I feel like somebody better than Mussolini. Look at this up here. This is out of control. Look at the view from up here. Down there is the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. Right here, where the children play and go over wonderful magical creeks and look for dinosaur footprints. What the heck are those down there? I have no idea. I'm trying to stay slow and stay calm and keep the camera as steady as I can whilst I show you this incredible bangarang view. It's a sometimes vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes. And for the second time, and I never thought there would be a second time, it is happening from a very fancy suite up inside of the Grand Californian Hotel, Disney's California Craftsman themed hotel here at Disney California Adventure, which it overlooks and actually has its own private entrance to. I can't get enough of this view. Look at that. And also Disneyland. It's perched right on the edge of Disneyland. If you look this way, you can see Paradise Pier Hotel out there somewhere. At very nighttime, you could see the wheel, the big Mickey's Fun Wheel through there, or as I like to call it, Mickey's Terror Death Wheel of I Won't Go on it. But look, California Craftsman is an architecture style pioneered by people like Green and Green. There's E's on the end of those names and other things. Look it up, California Craftsman. Do a little Googling. It's super awesome. We don't have time this time. A few weeks ago, I got invited to stay in somebody's suite that they weren't using. They had an extra night here in the Grand Californian Hotel. Now, this person who honestly is not, people are trying to guess, like, is it a famous person that you know? No, it's not. But if I try to explain this person to you who doesn't want to be explained anyways, you honestly wouldn't believe me. So there's no point. But this person came back to Disneyland, the Grand Californian, was hanging out in their suite here with, it's a whole bunch of people sharing the suite. And they all came in here, and I was hanging out late into the night, talking about how I was editing this video that I just got done with. I've been editing for 2 days, just sitting in front of a computer screen. And when they all left and pieced out back to LA, I had the option to hang out in here and do a little editing. And why go home and edit if you can hang out in here? Look at this. Okay, for starters, let's back all the way up to the front door and take a peek at this suite. I know, I've done a lot of hotel room, pardon the mess. I've done a lot of hotel room looking at vlogs, but this is pretty crazy. It's one of those things. So I promise I'll hurry up. So let's go out this sneaky kitchen door. Here's a whole separate room, a whole other room. Let's go in here really quick. Here's a whole other quote-unquote normal room attached to the Sultan's room here, or the king, or the liege, or the Johnny Depp, if you will. Look at this. Here's the room in here, the normal room, quote-unquote normal room attached. Look at that Craftsman bed. That bed right there, that headboard, and those lamps and everything, that's goals. Look at that. Here is their view out here onto this awesome balcony, and it overlooks the Grand Californian's pool out there. I don't know what that pool is called. Here's this crazy, weird restroom area. And then if you go this way, coming in from the front door, there's a whole living room area. Just this alone right here. If I could have this for an apartment and just permanently get to live in it, I would be pretty freaking stoked. This would be awesome. Look at the California Craftsman details and all the furniture and the theming of the room. I love theming. I love California Craftsman architecture. There's like bungalows and big houses like Doc Brown's house from Back to the Future and all that stuff. I love it. So all of this, everything about this is super epic. Come out here and look at this. I actually stay, now I'm divorced. but I once honeymooned here at the Grand Californian Hotel. Let me tell you, my room at the Grand Cal was not as nice even as this ancillary secondary room here in this suite where all these dudes were hanging out yesterday, hanging out, having a good time, shooting the breeze, talking about this. Look at that awesome pool right there. It wraps around a redwood log and people are having with the slide and the fun. Look at the fun. What a fun one. What a fun one. I'm not going to get to enjoy the pool this time. Anyway. So basically, it was not this nice. It was like a regular people hotel room. Like, well, I mean, as regular as staying here in the Grand Californian gets, I guess. A regular people hotel room. It was nothing like this, but it was still pretty awesome. And my dream was always to, you know, grow up, get married, and have a honeymoon at the Disneyland Hotel. That didn't happen, so maybe that's where things went all wrong. But check this out. That room right there, that attached room here, this is the entrance to the suite, the end of the hallway. The end of the hallway in Grand California. And it's cleaning up time. We gotta go really soon. Are these two glass doors, these double glass doors with their own doorbell here. And that is how you enter the craziness of the Arroyo suite where we are hanging out. And I almost locked myself out, but it's a good thing I didn't, because I remembered to prop open the kitchen door anyway. So if you were to come in the proper front door right here, just like the other room we did a vlog about. Now if you go back a couple weeks, you will see the Sometimes vlog where we did a whole room tour of another suite. I can't remember the name of the suite right now. That was up on the 6th floor. This is the 4th floor, so the ceiling is a little bit lower. Anyway, you come in that front door there, and just like last time, there is a restroom right here, a bathroom that is honestly bigger, almost, than my bedroom at home. Not literally, but almost, almost. And there's a crazy closet right here and all that good stuff. So it's very similar to the last one, only the dining room and kitchen are on a different side. Look at these. Awesome. They have a full-size fridge instead of a mini fridge. There's nothing mini about this place. Anyway, people are hanging out with like, oh, well, you can stay here, hang out, edit, do whatever you need to do. We're all piecing out back to LA and then going off on our travels around the world and doing all the crazy things that we people who are more consequential and important than you are going to do. And I got left here basically to play in the remainders, maybe do a vlog or whatever, and do some editing. So I'm sitting here editing and doing my thing. And one of the room service guy came up and delivered some delicious gluten-free cheeseburger, which I was not expecting, and then told me, oh yeah, this is it. Just like the last time we were in a room over here at the Grand California, I had my friend George over here. George was actually in town, downtown Disney. Wow, I'm getting excited. I need to calm down. Calm down, you freak! Why would you slap yourself? Okay, so George was walking around downtown Disney super late at night, and he's like, dude, are you back there again? Looking at the Snapchats and things. So George pops up here. So we get some gluten-free grub for me, and we're sitting there discussing how crazy this is. And the guy comes in and tells us, oh yeah, the pirate stayed here too. Johnny Depp stayed in this room too, as well as the member of the Eagles who just passed away, he said, whose name I then learned right afterwards and then promptly forgot. I don't remember names of celebrities or friends or my cousins. I'm just bad with it. Anyways, a dead eagle stayed here. Not to sound disrespectful, but I don't know how else to put it. And of course, Johnny Depp. As soon as I figured that out, I knew that nobody was going to sleep here. Instead of driving 10 miles to my home, or however far it is, I don't even think it's that far. Instead of driving less than 10 miles home, I decided, why not stay here? Look at this. Wasn't my room. I didn't pay for it. I think rooms like this are honestly so expensive. Like I honestly think this would, I don't know how much they cost. I have no idea how much they actually cost. But I'm gonna guess this is most people who have children and a mortgage to pay's entire tax return for one night. I'm guessing. I don't know. I have no freaking clue. But anyway, look at this craziness. If you had, I don't know why I wasn't thinking about like, oh yeah, I'll just sleep here, until I started to think, why wouldn't I sleep here? So I did. I came in here into this bedroom and I slept on another bed that Johnny Depp slept on. The last vlog, I cut off early before we were told by the room service person that came up to feed me and George eggs that cost like really cheap. They're like $5, so that's awesome. The room service guy told us that Paul McCartney and the pirate, he didn't speak very good English, but he said the pirate, and we were like, Johnny Depp, see, Johnny Depp, stayed in that last room. So I slept in that bed for like 2 hours before checkout time and took off afterwards. And so I did it. I slept in a bed that Johnny Depp and Paul McCartney did last time. It was success. I have absorbed both their good looks and all of their talent, but not their bank accounts. Dang it. I'm obviously kidding. I didn't get any other talent, just the handsomeness. You can tell. Anyway, so last night, how could I help myself but to stay in yet another bed that Johnny Depp slept in? You hear that, Johnny? I'm coming for every bed you ever slept in, buddy. Every single one. And look at this. This is something I did not get to do last time on the vlog, and I didn't even think about doing, but there's no way I'm not going to do now. Hello! It's a bed. It's the sometimes vlog. Woo! Jumping on the bed in my shoes. They wash the linens anyways here. This isn't a Fleabag motel. See what I did to your bed, Johnny? You see what I did to your bed, Jack Sparrow? How do you like that? You want me to do it to your other beds? I'll do it. I'll come and play and run around in them and do stuff. And then you're going to come home to your bed, Johnny Depp, and you're going to be like, oh no, I'm crybaby again because somebody messed up the bed. Wow, that takes a lot more energy than I remember from when I was a kid. I was really scared of hitting my head up there. But look at this. They even have art in here. I don't know much about art, but you know what they should have done? What would be really good is some X-Wings. Some X-Wings just coming. Whoa, that's real. Ooh. Some X-Wings coming across the water, maybe. Maybe like the bones of Jar Jar Binks, the lonely bones of Jar Jar. Somebody could probably Photoshop that. The lonely bones of Jar Jar, some X-Wings. Wow, why are we focusing on the art? Anyway, so I'm in here editing this crazy video last night, and I spent all that time. Here's the hallway of the room, by the way, and here's the crazy restroom. I spent all that time out in the desert, and the few places we did stay, which one of them will be in the random land that I'm still editing right now, were very like flea-bitten, tiny places. The beds were falling apart. Still a phone in the John here. Hello? John? Where are you, John? Oh, you're in the room with me. That's weird. Oh, I feel awkward because I just realized we're having a conversation in the bathroom. Anyway, one of them, the bed was falling apart. Another one was just all made of cinder blocks. Nothing on the walls, like kind of weird and scary. And there were like scary people outside who were nice, but they were scary looking at first in the middle of nowhere. And I've slept on a lot of floors, let me tell you. And in my car. A lot of times when I travel, I just sleep in the car. I just pull over somewhere, like a rest area or something like that. Sleep in the car, and I've slept on tons of floors. I've slept all kinds of places all over the country when I tour with a band. And lately, I've been having to travel so much to do all this crazy stuff. I'm starting to feel more at home in hotel rooms than I am at my own home. And I don't even mean fancy ones like this. I feel like probably less comfortable in the fancy ones. But like even at the like crazy ones with the broken springs and all this stuff, I feel like, okay, here I am. Where I used to feel completely uncomfortable in hotels. Like I didn't know what I'm looking at. You know, like when you go, okay, hold on. Like, how do I explain this? When you go to sleep in a hotel and it's all quiet, man, it's really bright in here. It's all quiet and weird and you're not used to the sounds and you're not used to the room. It's not familiar to you. So it's like kind of difficult to sleep, or at least it was for me. It was always kind of difficult to sleep in hotel rooms. I'd go with my band and we would check into a hotel and everyone would turn on the TV and sit there and chill, and then they'd turn out the light. And I was so tired. Like, guys, please turn off the TV. All I want to do is go to sleep. We paid like $60 for this hotel room. It's so much money. Please just turn off the TV so I can go to sleep. They all turn off they turn off the box with the shiningness, and then they'd all pass out and start snoring, and I would be like, bing. Every little weird sound, the sound of people walking around the hotel, the sound of them snoring,
the thought of what was on TV, I could just never sleep in. I could never do it. I slept better in my van. I slept better in people's houses on the floor. Now it's the total opposite. Give me a weird hotel room, and I'm like, put me at home where I know I can do all kinds of stuff and like do the laundry and get up and have a snack, and I'm like awake all night like an idiot. I can't ever sleep. This is a whole other level though, where I felt really weird because this feels like somebody's house. This felt like sleeping in somebody's house and they weren't there. Like, oh, this is weird. I feel like I'm gonna open one of these drawers and find Johnny Depp's thong. I mean, not that I particularly want to see it or anything. Just saying, if it were in there, we should vlog it anyways. Maybe it's in here. No. We didn't find Johnny Depp's thong this time. Look at this. There's a whole other balcony over here with some chairs. Looking out much more onto Cars Land there. What a view. The wind started blowing all crazy last night, and these trees are right up next to the window, so they were moving all crazy, so it looked like there were thugs out here doing thug life stuff. It was kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. But here's the thing, I thought, oh man, I'm never gonna be able to sleep in here. And I think it was like 4 or 5 in the morning by the time I even did, because the people who were actually staying here, the people who actually belonged here, were staying chilling until like probably 1 in the morning or so. And then they left, and George popped in for a while, and then by the time he left, I was like looking at some stuff to edit, and I was working in here, I was editing randomly in here. It's funny, the video that starts in the middle of the desert, that I'm mostly editing in like weird little hotel rooms where I honestly had to check for bed bugs just to make sure I didn't carry anything home with me, and all that starts to get edited a little bit in here. It's the weirdest thing ever. And luckily, I still had all my crap in my car from that trip to Nevada, so even though you can see it's covered with dust here, but I had my guitar in there. George brought me another guitar and let me borrow a Strat. I never owned a Strat. Side note for guitar people, I never owned a Stratocaster. I really, really want one. So George is letting me borrow his just to see if like, do I really want one someday? Or is this just like what? So anyway, George let me borrow that. So I still have my bag and everything. So I still have my toothbrush and all that stuff in the car. My backup toothbrush, my travel toothbrush and all that. So I was all fixed up. So I was like, why not? So I went down and got it. And I slept in Johnny Depp's bed. And let me tell you, I was like, well, it's 5 in the morning. I'm going to get up kind of early and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'm going to sleep. It's all weird. The wind started blowing, so the trees out here were going all crazy and casting weird shadows. And I had never been here before. And there's this hallway and this door here. That door, let's show you. That door here. And by the way, look at how cool this is. You can just close off. Honey, you taking a bath? You taking a bath, honey? You're looking kind of nice. But I don't want to look at you anyways because I'm sick of your face. And then you close this and you're like, ha, ha, ha. I'm sorry, honey. I want to look at you. You're beautiful. You're beautiful, honey. You don't want to see me no more. I understand. Anyway, look at this. It's crazy. Anyway, this hallway here leads to its own private, separate house. It's dark. To its own private, separate little foyer entryway thing to the direct to the suite master. Ooh, what's in here? We're never gonna find Jack Sparrow's thong! Anyway, it leads to its own private... See, I'm not dumb. I locked the doors. And there were a lot of doors to lock. It leads to its own private way in to the Arroyo Suite. That's the front door there. So you have a room over here where a bunch of people can be, and then you have this in here, this main room, and you have a side entrance to your own private room this way, and that couch in the living room folds out to a bed. So you can fit quite a lot of people sleeping here. These people here didn't have any reason to sleep in this suite or the other adjoining room this night. So we got the schweet hookup. Anyway, so I'm laying here, and I always get paranoid about directions, right? So I'm laying here thinking, there's the creepy trees, those trees right there. They were dancing around, they were making all these weird shadows and stuff. And then I'm thinking, this is how it works in my head at night. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is where the insomnia comes in. I'm thinking, there's all these people that could get up on the balcony and come this way. They could come from the front door. They could sneak in the other suite. I could get murdered that direction. And then I started thinking about this way and how if somebody got past the first door, you can actually see through that glass kind of. And then I started thinking, someone could be looking at me. And the thought crossed my mind as I lay here that, oh my gosh, I am never going to get to sleep. This is pointless. Maybe I should just get my stuff and drive down the road to my house. And then something magical happened. It turns out that this bed here is made of marshmallows and imagination, and the pillows are filled with love, and I immediately fell asleep. This is the most comfortable freaking bed of ever. If anybody knows, I'm just putting this out, this is a total aside. Normally I'm telling you because I learned a fact. I have no idea. If any of you know what the heck this freaking bed is made of, like a manufacturer or a something or a thing, or like how we can find out who makes this bed. I'm not sure that I want to see the mattress actually. What if I lift this up and it's covered with like just dead bodies, parts, and we don't want to think about that. I want to know because I'm going to save all my pennies until someday I too can afford a cloud. I slept like a baby. Like a little baby scarred. It was the most comfortable sleep I ever had. And now I have to adjust to normal life, and I live in a room. I live in a little room by myself, and there's no... Johnny Depp never slept in my room, and there's a dog, and sometimes the dog snores, and I'm like, come on, dog, shut up, and it's not even my dog, and I'm sleeping there, and I'll never adjust. This was so cool, though. I can't even pretend to be bummed. This was super, super awesome, so I'm throwing this out there in the video just in case it gets watched by the person and or people who hooked this up. Thank you very much. I don't know if you were expecting me to sleep in the room, but I did. Don't worry, I did not break anything that you know of. It'll be totally fine. I think though that George and I did charge the hamburgers to the room. So we'll talk about that later. Anyway, there you go. I had to share. I was thinking about going down to the park, doing a vlog down at the park. I had a fever last couple days. I was really, really sick. I went to NAM and I was like really dying. As soon as I turned off the vlog at NAM, I really was feeling faint. I started leaving the building the other day to follow up from the other day. I'm going down the street, I got super lightheaded, and I just fell. And it turns out that falling when you're 6 feet tall and a little older than you used to be is extremely painful. So I totally wrenched my knee. I didn't sprain it, thank goodness. But I totally wrenched it in this really weird way. I started immediately filling up with fluid. It still actually really, really hurts. Not that you can tell from me jumping on the bed and stuff like that, but you gotta play through the pain. Come on, street hockey style, right? Because we all played that. I actually literally did. Rollerblading was cool back then, okay, kids? You just gotta trust me. Anyways, my knee swelled up to like 2 knees. And see like how my pants are a little, you know, these are some tight, like, hey, these are some skinny jeans, but I still don't fill them out all the way because I'm really skinny. This was like stretched. Like, oh my gosh, I should have got the stretch jeans. It was pretty crazy. And I had to like limp home like 10 feet and sit down on the sidewalk between the convention center and the parking structure at Disneyland where I parked. And it took a long time to go home, and I was pretty miserable and grumpy, and I was just so frustrated, and I had to go and edit the whole next day, and I had this fever, and finally the fever broke. I was just super grumpy and just super negative, and trying to keep a PMA, a positive mental attitude, and just thinking, man, this is just freaking annoying. Like, not sucky. Like, I didn't want to say my life is sucky or anything like that. I knew better than that. My life is cool, and awesome things happen, and we get to have all kinds of adventures together, and there's all kinds of cool stuff, and I get it. Count your many blessings. Name them one by one. I get it. But, I was a little cranky. We all get cranky, okay? I have met literally some super wealthy rich people who get cranky. I've met some poor people who get cranky. I've met some hobos who get cranky, some free spirits who get cranky, some priests who get cranky, believe me. Some monks who get cranky, Richard Dawkins is always cranky, so every kind of person can get a little cranky, a little frustrated, a little grumpy. I was like, editing this video and all stuff. And then I just kept it positive, kept it together, and then you never know what can happen. George and I were out on that other balcony last night. He was taking a view out over the pool, and I was telling him, dude, a year, 2 years ago, whatever, I was like, no, we were talking about 4 years ago, I think. We were talking about like, 2011 or whatever. I was talking about my old band, and I was telling him the story of this tour that had completely failed, and I went out on this tour, and I'll tell this story in the future, like in a longer way, but here, let's give you another look around this room. I went on this tour, it didn't work out, and it had totally like crushed our finances, the band, and we had all these shows booked that had to be canceled. It was not the band's fault, but there's no way for all the promoters and all the fans and all that stuff to know that. So forever we were going to be labeled as that band that canceled another tour and all this crazy stuff. And I knew in my heart it was the end. It was the end of my band. Like, it was the beginning of the end, and it was going down, and there was really no recovery from it. We're out here telling the story last night. And I told him too that at that time, this is 2012, I called my then spouse on the phone from where we were, and I was like, hey, this happened, it's all horrible and everything, but we're coming home. So at least we're coming home, like, you'll be happy to see me, I'm coming home, yay, you know, at least there's that. I thought that would be awesome, I'd get cheered up, you know, I'm coming home. And the voice on the other end was like super like weird and bummed out that I was coming home. Like, oh, well, you're like, really? Not because of my circumstances, but just because they didn't want me around. And I realized in my heart too, I was like, oh man, this is coming apart too. So, like, before I ever knew it in my head or ever admitted it, I just knew in that moment, like, this is coming apart too. So I was telling him about this story where there was this moment, not even 4 years ago yet. What is this TV on? Who the heck's watching the news? There's this moment, not even 4 years ago, where I had my family, my band, my everything that my identity was tied up with. I had been in that band for 10 years, just about. It was 9 years at that point. I had been in my marriage for 9 years at that point, or almost 10 years. And I was sitting there thinking about my whole life. Everything that I was or had built up to that point was just like, I just knew it was coming apart. It was the craziest thing. Everything in front of me, the entire future, looked super dark. Like, it's over. It's over. Everything good is over. I will never have anything good again. Flash forward, the band does come apart. I quit the band. I'm trying to save a marriage. I work all hard at doing that. Impossible. Falls apart. Super, super, super negative. And I think like last year or so, I had no money to eat with, for real. Like, just nothing going on. I had to totally start completely over in my whole life. And luckily I had the videos and things, keep my sanity, I keep me together, give me something to do while I figured everything out. And then that became a whole thing of its own. And I never would have thought in a million years, I mean, granted, I'm only just staying here as like the guest of a guest. I can't even afford this room, much less the other room. But I'm just saying, you never know. Never know what's around the corner. See, tomorrow, everyone, hey, look at this. The Gideons even come up here. Look at that. The Gideons are the people that leave the Bibles. You always got to check. There was no Bible in the big suite, though. The big guy's not well represented in the big suite. How funny. You never know. Tomorrow, illness, sickness, death, bankruptcy. I mean, the federal government could come after me for that time I stepped on a rare toad. I don't know what the heck could happen tomorrow. Could be bad. But I used to always expect tomorrow to be bad. I used to always sit there and honestly I would soak in it and dwell in how negative today was and how frustrated I was. And I just started to learn over the years that, over the past year or two actually, not even that long, that if you just hang in there, you never know what can happen. You're gonna have bad days. I have bad days all the time where you freaking fall, you hurt your knee, you can't get anything done, you got a fever, sometimes the vlog doesn't go up, people are trolling you and saying mean things about your face and saying rude things about the people that you love, and all kinds of bad stuff can still happen. But dude, seriously, for the most part, if you just hang in there, I promise you, the positive attitude can change a lot. Now granted, it probably won't get you in here. Having a positive attitude won't get me in here. That was somebody else's generosity and kindness. But I never would have met those people without the positive attitude. I never would have had a cool experience of sitting in this chair, talking with some really cool people last night about really cool stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, you want to stay in this room? Heck yes I do. And I would like to bring all of my friends along. So every cool thing I get to do that I'm allowed to film, my pledge has been and shall continue to be, I will invite you along to it. So even though this is a long-winded, and I know, probably for some of you this is boring, come on man, stop showing hotel rooms. Actually vote, yes or no, showing more hotel rooms. Some of them will be small and crappy, some of them are like this. It's just that I notice everywhere I go on Periscope or anytime people can tweet me back or comment when they know I'm in a hotel, whether it's super small and crappy or whether it's this. People are always like, room tour! Room tour! So anyway, my promise is that every cool thing like this I get to do, I'm going to document as much as I can and share it. That's why I go where I go. I'm like a space explorer. Like, we couldn't all go to the moon, but Neil Armstrong went there and went, look at this! Look at this one! It's dusty! The footprints are out of control and I can bounce. It's insane. It's insane. So anyway, I'm going to keep doing what I do, and I'm going to keep on the quest for positivity and hope that tomorrow is another day. And also, by the way, look at this. I can't tell you whose suite this was, But I'm starting to think Tyler Evans has been here. I'm starting to think. Wait a minute, was this here last night before I went to bed? I honestly don't know. Tyler? He couldn't. No. What if Tyler bursts around the corner right now? Wouldn't that be a great ending to the vlog? It would be such a great... That's not going to happen, though. My friend has moved away. Everyone I love leaves me. But look at this. At least we get to do... Have you ever stayed in a hotel room so big that you could do this? Look at this. Look what we get to do. Whoa!